Hello and happy Wellness Wednesday. It is Dr. Latoya Wells with Wells Legacy Health and Wellness here with you for another episode of Wellness Wednesday with Dr. Wells. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so grateful that you are here tonight. And I just want to say thank you all so much for each and every one of you that shows up every Wednesday for Wellness Wednesday. Tonight, we're going to pivot again. As I mentioned earlier in the month, we are going to be discussing several different topics. The month of August is just juicy with different health topics that I thought would be interesting and beneficial to share in this platform. So tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to pivot to the pediatric side of things. I am a family nurse practitioner, so I can see a broad spectrum of patients. And I don't want to say I have a love-hate relationship. That may not be the right terminology. I enjoy being a family nurse practitioner, and I enjoy being able to take care of a broad spectrum of patients. If you knew me at the beginning of my nursing career and throughout my nursing career, I enjoyed a myriad of different things. If there was an opportunity to go and to learn something different and to work on a different unit or to go do something else, I was signing up for it because I wanted to learn all of the things and I wanted to get experience in many different areas of healthcare. And as a nurse, that's one of the things that I was afforded and one of the things that I'm grateful for, that as nurses, we can be very diverse in our experience and in the areas that we work in. So pediatrics was one of the rotations that I found to be very difficult, and that in the sense that it was very close to home, right? I was in nursing school as a mother and had my babies, and just to see these kids in the hospital, and I'm a softie anyway, and I'm a water bag. So if any of you know me, know me very well, know that I am a water bag, and it doesn't take much to pull at my heartstrings and get the tears to flowing. But in the pediatric arena and taking care of patients, pediatric patients, the things that we have to do, even though it's for their benefit and it's going to help them, when they're sick, they're sick. And we have to come and poke and prod them and give them medication. And a lot of things are just not very comfortable. And many kids don't understand what's happening to them. And so you have to take time to explain what's going on, why we're doing these things, just as if we were talking to an adult patient. And so I found that was my best avenue when I was taking care of my pediatric patients. But a lot of things that we have to do, give them shots and start IVs, it hurts and they don't understand it. So I love my PDs, my pediatric patients. It's not something that I want to do every day because I could find myself getting very overwhelmed and very emotional when one of my patients gets sick. I am with all patients, but it's just a little different with kids and the babies. I can recall my last day working in the emergency room. Every patient that I got was a pediatric patient. And I can remember, this baby hadn't have been any more than 10 days old. And the parents brought her in and she needed some medical care. And I had to do all this stuff to this little baby. And she's crying, mom's crying, dad crying, I'm crying. We were a mess in that room. But let me shift and pivot just a little bit. I'm going to discuss pediatric eye health. The month of August is also pediatric vision awareness and pediatric eye health awareness. So I want to spend some time tonight going over that. When we talk about eye exams and eye health, we really don't, first thing that comes to mind is not a pediatric patient, right? But everyone needs eye exams. And so we're going to talk about when we should get them, how often the kids need to get the eye exams. If you have a healthy pregnancy and you deliver a full-term baby, there's some basic things that are done at delivery and before that baby goes home. And then when they do go home and they're being seen by their pediatrician, there will be some eye eye examination done there, seeing, if their pupils are dilating and doing all the things that they need to do. They're going to take the ophthalmoscope and look in the back of the eye to make sure that the blood vessels back there look okay. And so there's certain things that they're going to have done at a very early age. And so once they are between the age of 1 month and 1 year old, again, at birth it starts, and then every year at the physical exam. So when that baby goes in to get their physical exam, they should be having regular eye exams with their checkups. By the age of 6 months, the pediatrician should check for eye health, looking at the alignment, looking at vision development. Are they able to track? Are they focusing in on objects? And if there's any issues that are noted or found during that exam, then they should refer them out to a pediatric ophthalmologist, who will then look at the eye health of the health of that child's eyes. We have several eye specialists. We have the ophthalmologist, which looks at the overall health of the eye. And then you have the optometrist, which is the ones that we go to when we need to get glasses. I see two. I see an ophthalmologist and I see an optometrist. The ophthalmologist looks at the health of my eyes, looks at the blood vessels, all of that. And then when I need glasses, I go to the optometrist. And so there's some other specialties that have to deal with the eyes, but those are just some of the, most common ones. By the time a kid is between the age of 1 and 3 years old, at the age of 3, the American Academy of Pediatrics recommend that we screen this child for something called lazy eye or cross eyes. Okay, so it's different tests that we do that are done to check this. Like, I've had pediatric patients that have come to me when I've worked in different clinics, and they came in for their well child exam, and we did the different eye exams on them. So there's different things that we can do at different stages. When they enter into preschool between the ages of 3 and 5, regular eye exams should continue. At this point, they should be focusing on visual acuity, eye coordination, and depth perception. How well is this child tracking objects? How well are they able to see the depths and eye coordination between hand-eye coordination, things like that? It's critical, one, to make sure that we are identifying nearsightedness or farsightedness. Are they having issues seeing things up close? Are they having issues seeing things at a distance? And usually it's around this time, when kids enter into preschool or to kindergarten, that we begin to see things as parents. I can remember this kid coming in, and the mom, 3 or 4 year old, the mom saying the kid's just complaining that they have a headache, that their head hurts. And when we did the eye exam, this kid really needed some eyeglasses. And so we were able to get them tested and get them, the screenings done and get them into eyeglasses. And it helped one behavior. And then it also helped with the headaches that they were experiencing. So parents, when your kids are coming home and they're complaining of different things, let's pay attention to that, because there could be something going on. It may not be that they just don't want to go to school, which I know I've had it. Oh, my stomach hurts because I just don't want to go to school. But making sure that they're getting their routine physical exams, just as with adults, making sure that they're getting their eye exam. And we recommend that we get them at least yearly, unless they're having some issues going on. Some insurances and some guidelines say 1 to 2 years, but we'll talk about it a little bit more later. Once they get into the school age range, between the ages of 6 and 12 years old, again, they should continue to have these exams as a regular part of their physical exam and checkup, especially right before school. And then every 2 years thereafter, right? So every 1 to 2 years, depending upon what's going on. So if you have a child who is already in glasses, we picked up an issue early on, maybe between the ages of 3 and 5 years old, and we have them in glasses, we need to have our eyes examined at least once a year, unless they're having some issues with the medical part of the eyes, the blood vessels, or there's some different structures in the back of the eye that could potentially cause some problems, glaucoma, things of that nature, cataracts, what have you. And yes, kids can develop these. It could be considered genetic. And so we have to make sure that we are getting their eyes checked frequently. But for those kids who are already in glasses, we should be getting their eyes checked at least every year to make sure that their prescription hasn't changed. And usually we want to try and do that around the time before they go back to school, right? Because things could have changed over the summer. Glasses could have gotten broken or lost. And we just want to make sure that we are doing due diligence for them when it comes to that. Making sure that they're getting checked for nearsightedness and farsightedness is really important, because that we begin to see more complaints from kids when they start school and they're having to look at the board, and now we're looking at computers more often. We want to make sure that we are staying up to date on those eye exams. Once we get into the teenage years, again, we want to continue to have those eye exams. This is when the teenage years, with hormones and growth spurts and things of that nature, we begin to see more vision changes, and they may begin to complain of, not being able to see far up or close, far away, or what have you. And so it's important, one, to make sure that we're monitoring for conditions such as digital eye strain and other visual changes. And as we know, we're in a digital age. And so everyone is using tablets and computers in school, including the little ones. And so making sure that we are monitor them, and that if at all possible, if they're wearing glasses, that they have blue light protection on their glasses, which will help. So as we kind of transition into how often and when we should get the eye exams done, I want to talk about some of the common eye conditions or eye issues that we might see in the different age groups. So in infants, if you recall just a few minutes ago, I mentioned some congenital issues that we pick up or we may see in infants. And so kids can be born with congenital eye issues such as cataracts or glaucoma. And so we have to be able to pick up on that. And that's why it's so important that these eye exams are done early and that we're following them if there's anything that's abnormal. So congenital cataracts, and that's where the lens of the eye becomes cloudy, and it could potentially impact their vision. You can also have kids or infants that develop congenital glaucoma, and that's where there's the pressure within the eyes is building up, and that could be due to a blockage or a malformation with the structures in the eye that could cause the pressure in the eyes to build up. And then strabismus, which is misaligned eyes, that can be detected pretty early. Some people will want to call that lazy eye, but that's not necessarily the case. The eyes are just not aligned correctly. And there's many things that can be done with the congenital cataracts. There's surgeries that can be done. For the glaucoma, there's different things that can be done for that as well. And then for strabismus, which is the misalignment of the eyes, therapies can be done with that child to help maybe correct that, or place in corrective lenses that may help as well. When we get to the toddler stage, there's several things that could happen here, but one of the things is nearsightedness and farsightedness can become more noticeable with these kids. And so it's important that, again, we are monitor them, we're paying close attention to them. When we get into the preschool age, some of the things that are commonly known is nystagmus, and forgive me if I'm butchering these terms. It's involuntary eye movement that can affect the vision. And so if you're looking at someone, typically their eyes are pretty still unless they are shifting their gaze. But with this condition, nystagmus, there's almost like I don't know, you take your hand and you put it on the mouse on the computer, and that mouse is moving back and forth. It's involuntary movements of the eye. And certain kids who have certain genetic conditions are more prone to this. Individuals who thought just went right out of my head. But anyway, it's an involuntary movement of the eyes. And then visual perception problems. So they're having difficulty interpreting visual information. And this can cause issues with learning. So if they're having this nystagmus or the involuntary eye movement, they're not able to focus in on things when they're reading and when they're looking at their computers or their paper that's being presented to them. When we get to the school age child, myopia can be an increasingly common problem, which is seeing far away objects. They're having an issue with seeing things far away. And then because we have the introduction now at such an early age of tablets and things of that nature, and there's research out there about how soon we should be giving children tablets or introducing them to phones and things of that nature. But I'll leave that up to the parents to decide. I'm not going to, give guidelines on what I think you should do with your child. Every child is different. Every parent is different. And every parent-child relationship is different. Just let's be smart with it. I don't know about you, but if I'm sitting at a computer, which I sit at a computer quite often, if I'm at my computer for a prolonged period of time, my eyes get tired and it, can become a problem. And so if we're introducing tablets and computers and phones to kids at a very young age, we could notice some issues down the line. So let's just monitor that. So the digital eye strain comes from excessive screen time, causing symptoms like eye strain and headache. So maybe we need to monitor and set limits on screen time. For many parents that have, different internet packages, you're able to set limits on what devices can log onto the internet at what time, or if they have their own device, which many school-age kids do. At this time, there's some preschoolers who have cell phones, but let's be diligent with that to make sure that we're helping them and not hurting, not contributing to some of the issues that they may be having. When we discuss the teenage years, again, refractive eye changes because of growth spurts and hormones, which is the inability to see up close or far. We also have issues with digital eye strain, and then dry eye symptom, which is usually due to increased or extended screen time. And then at this age, there may be some school age children who have contacts, but mostly we begin to see them in the teenage years. As they're growing older and they're maturing, they want to come out of the glasses and move into contacts. And so that's where we might see the dry eye. Some other things that we want to discuss tonight is some of the emergencies that can happen with kids in the eyes. We've seen them all. Foreign objects in the eye, something gets in there, something flies in there, they're playing, something pokes them in the eye, what have you. So if they get something in their eye, piece of dirt, rock, what have you, want to make sure, one, that we're rinsing the eye with clean water, and you want to contact medical assistance if you need it, or if the discomfort and redness persist. I never knew the strength of I think she was 2 or 3 years old. Never knew the strength of this 2 or 3-year-old toddler of mine, Tamar, until one day we were home and she's in the den. I was in the room doing something, had walked away, or she was in the room and I was in the den. And for some reason, she was in my room. I don't know what. I knew later what she was doing, but she was playing around with my perfumes and my body spray. And she sprayed something in her eye. And I just noticed something, that my title here is incorrect. Forgive me for that. I didn't get a chance to update it, but she sprayed something in her eye. She comes running, screaming and crying. I'm running to her and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. She's holding her eye and I'm trying to look. And for a split second, all of my nursing training, healthcare training, education went out the window, and I panicked. And I just had to say, okay, calm down, get yourself together. We got to deal with this issue. And I knew the first thing to do was to rinse her eye. I'm home by myself with this she had to have been no older than 3. This 3-year-old child. You think I was wrestling a full-grown man, quarterback, somebody, right? It took so much energy to hold her still so that I can rinse her eye. And I had to rinse it for a good 10 to 15 minutes because we need to make sure that we're flushing all of the membranes within the eye. Our eyes have a lot of blood vessels, and small things can get in there, especially if it's any type of chemical, and begin to spread. And then the reaction of the eye is to get red to try and protect itself. And it's just reacting to whatever, foreign body has been introduced, especially if it's some type of chemical. The body begins to react and to tear up and try and clear whatever it is that was introduced that should not have been there. And so I had to wrestle this little 3-year-old for a good 15 minutes. I was able to successfully get her eye rinsed out. I ended up calling poison control, just confirm, what I'd done. And we were both tired after that. So if you ever get anything, any chemicals or whatnot in the eye, any foreign object, you want to rinse the eye. If there's something that's piercing the eye, we want you to get them to emergency room quickly. Okay. You want to cover that eye with a clean cloth and get medical attention quickly. You don't want to put any pressure on the eye, but you do want to cover it up. Again, chemical exposure, make sure you're rinsing it immediately and seek help. You can contact poison control, or if the redness is not going away, or if you're just not sure what got in there and you're not able to rinse it, then get them to emergency or urgent care. Any trauma from the eyes, anything like that, again, place that clean cloth over the eye and get medical attention. Sudden loss of vision or changes in the vision. So rapid loss of vision and sudden eye pain require immediate medical evaluation. While I'm on this topic, I want to just kind of pivot back just a little bit. We're seeing an increase in type 2 diabetes in younger individuals. And then we didn't hear about it much in previous years, or a decade or so before or go, about type 1 diabetes. But type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes are very real in our pediatric population. And along with diabetes comes eye issues. So we want to make sure that if your child or the kid that you're taking care of, your child, your niece, your nephew, what have you, if they have diabetes, they should be seen by their ophthalmologist at least twice a year for those diabetic eye exams. Because if left untreated, if the glucose levels are too elevated or not controlled, it can definitely impact the eyes. So what are some things that we want to do in regards to promoting good eye health or good eye hygiene, right? We want to, limit screen time. If that child has issues that are known, that have been identified by an ophthalmologist and an optometrist, whether it's nearsightedness, they're not able to see things up close or far away, and they've been placed in corrective lenses, we want to make sure that they're wearing their lenses and that their glasses, and that they're wearing them correctly and properly. We want to make sure, that we're using the 20-20-20 rule, which is every 20 minutes, look at something 20 feet away for at least 20 seconds. So if you're sitting at a computer, and this is good for adults as well, if we're sitting at a computer and we're working, which many of us are, a lot of people are working from home now, and we're utilizing technology throughout the day. You want to look away from your computer every 20 seconds, or as often as you can remember, every 20 minutes. Look away from the computer, look at something about 20 feet away for about 20 seconds, and then return back to what you're doing. That helps break up the continuous staring up close, and causes your eyes and the muscles of the eyes to really focus on something far away, and then you bring your focus back. Promoting outdoor activity. I'm going to leave that alone. There are so many kids who do not know the nature of playing outside, and all they know is playing on their PS4, Nintendo, I don't even think there's Nintendo, not Sega, whatever these game systems out. PS4, I think it's the one that are out, and Xboxes are out, that they don't get out and enjoy physical activity outside. And because of that, we're seeing a marked increase in individuals with eye issues, eye strain, dry eye, difficulty seeing up close and far away because they're constantly looking at these devices. Avoid rubbing the eyes. Teach kids not to rub their eyes or not to, put anything in the eye, put their fingers in the eyes or what have you. I know for little kids that could be an issue. So if we begin to just kind of teach them and, explain to them why that shouldn't be the case, then maybe we can help them. Healthy diet. Ensuring diet rich in vitamin A, C, and E, and the good fats, the omega-3 fatty acid, and zinc want to help eye health. There are different children's vitamins that we can give our children. There are some other little drinks like the pediatric and things like that. If they aren't drinking or getting in enough nutrients, we can give them some of those little supplemental drinks. But the healthier the diet, the better. And then proper eyewear. So if we're out in the sun, parents, we put on our glasses, our shades, make sure that our kids have that as well, because we want to make sure that their eyes are being protected. Many of the corrective lenses should have the UV protection in there, and there are many of them that will turn or transition into shades when they're outside. And for those that are wearing contacts, make sure that their glasses and their contact prescriptions are up to date, and that when those who are wearing contacts, when they're outside, they have some shades or something that they can put over the eyes to ensure that their eyes are protected. We live in Florida, and by nature, of course, we're the sunshine state. So we're exposed to sun quite often, and it can damage the eyes over time, which is why we see such an increase in the development of cataracts as we age. So let's make sure that we are protecting our baby's eyes early on, and that we're doing what we need to do. So thank you for joining me today as we discuss eye health in the pediatric population. I know it's something different for what I usually discuss, but I will be integrating all of my range of experience in the Wellness Wednesdays. I have some amazing things that are coming up in October. I'll be partnering with an organization, and we're going to be discussing some topics that we don't necessarily discuss but need to be discussed. Want to remind you that regular eye exams and good eye hygiene are so important for maintaining your child's vision. If you have any concerns about your child's eye health, make sure you're consulting your pediatrician or an eye specialist. Make sure you're staying up to date on what the guidelines are, and that you're staying in the know of things that are going on and what we can do to best help our kids. I want to make sure that you guys receive information that's relevant to you. Also, continue to please send me different topics. I have gotten some topics, and I'm working on integrating those into my lineup. So be on the lookout for that. I have some exciting news. We are now accepting insurance. We are now accepting Blue Cross Blue Shield and several select Medicare plans. We have some others that we're waiting on full credentialing for. But for those of you who've reached out and want to utilize your insurance, please give us a call. Let's talk. Let's find out what we can do to get you scheduled for your physical exams. We will also be soon offering DOT physicals. I'm excited. There's some amazing things that's on the horizon for Wells Legacy Health and Wellness, and I can't wait to share them with you. Again, we are offering our medical weight loss services. So if you are someone who is looking to lose weight, and it's not all about just medication, we provide a streamlined program for you. It's something new that we've just started. So it's not just about medication, but we provide a whole program for you. So stay tuned. We have some amazing things. You'll be hearing from, my assistant here soon. But I just want to say thank you. I'm so grateful for those of you who have been on this journey with me. It has been a journey, and we're not done yet. I just want to say thank you so much. This is Dr. Latoya Wells with Wells Legacy Health and Wellness. If you are in need of a primary care provider, we have you. We got you. Give us a call, or you can go to our website. 321-306-6755 is our phone number. Or you can reach us at wellslegacyhealth.com. Stay safe and be well. Until next time, we will see you later. Bye.